Alright, sorry I couldn't get this video to you yesterday, I was busy all day. And actually, I have a few videos to make now. New trailer for Shang-Chi's dropping tonight, plus I'm also seeing F9, so yeah, got a couple videos to make. But for now, let's talk about this third episode of Loki, otherwise known as, yeah, it was pretty much a filler, in a way, kinda sorta. Of course, as always, I'm gonna give you a spoiler warning. If you have not watched this third episode yet, titled Lamentis, then don't watch this video unless you don't care. Alright, here we go. So this episode starts out actually kinda funny. It starts with a flashback, but there's that, like, techno song playing over the Marvel logo, and usually I don't like it when licensed songs play over that Marvel logo, but this techno beat, I was like, yeah, alright, this is a sick beat. But the scene is actually Lady Loki, or she goes by Sylvie, so I'm gonna call her that. She's manipulating Hunter C20, played by Sasha Lane. She's trying to get her to tell her where the timekeepers are, how to get to them. I guess that is part of Sylvie's plan. We're still not really sure what her big plan is, but being halfway through the season now, I certainly want to know. More on C20 and the setting of this flashback later on. So now we're in the present, well, present for our characters anyway. After the events of the last episode, Sylvie escapes back to the TVA, and now there's a point, I noticed this, where while they're still in the TVA, Sylvie goes up to one of the TVA soldiers and she uses magic on him, and I was like, whoa, okay, what? Sylvie's magic works here in the TVA? That's different. I wonder if that's just something the writers forgot about temporarily, or if it's actually like a thing, like somehow Sylvie's magic works here in the TVA where our Loki's magic does not. I don't know, we'll see if that's touched on in later episodes. So now Sylvie and Loki, I don't have to call him Tom Loki anymore, they're trying to get away from all the TVA soldiers and Ravonna Renslayer's coming after them, and using one of those TemPads, which is the device that TVA soldiers use to open up those time doors, Loki and Sylvie end up escaping. And they end up on this planet named Lamentis 1, in the year 2077. So yeah, they are now on this distant planet way in the future. Yeah, 56 years from now. And it turns out to be another apocalypse site. Cause this other huge broken planet is gonna crash into this planet and destroy everything and kill everyone. We kinda saw that briefly in the first trailer. And unfortunately, the TemPad is now out of juice. So now Loki and Sylvie are stuck here on this doomed planet. So the majority of this episode is Loki and Sylvie trying to find a way to power up this thing again so they can get off. Hence why this episode is kinda filler. And yeah, sure, that is concerning, this being only a 6-episode season. I guess the story was shorter than the writers anticipated, so they had to stretch one of the episodes out. I do think it's pretty cool though that this character, we did not know a lot about her when the trailers were coming out. We didn't know that she was gonna be like a main player in this show, or at least this season. She wasn't really advertised a whole lot, you know? So now I think it's cool that we get to spend a whole episode with her, and maybe a few more. And okay, she goes by the name Sylvie now. She doesn't want to be called Loki, she wants to be called Sylvie. From what I hear, this is actually a reference to a character in the comics who is not Lady Loki, but her name is Sylvie Lushton. Now, Sylvie Lushton, from what I hear, took up the moniker of Enchantress, which is funny because it makes me think of Enchantress from Suicide Squad. Yeah, kind of like Captain Marvel, there's an Enchantress in DC and Marvel Comics. But I guess the MCU didn't want to just full-on bring in their Enchantress character because we've seen a live-action Enchantress in the DCEU already. Makes sense, I guess. So I guess they decided for their Loki show, they'll take the character of Lady Loki from the comics and make her kind of an amalgamation of both Lady Loki from the comics and Sylvie Lushton, one of the Enchantresses from the comics. Alright, well, that's fair enough. Plus, added bonus, now I don't have to be like Tom Loki and Lady Loki. We just have Loki and Sylvie now. And Sylvie's a pretty cool character, yeah. She's very mysterious. We still don't know a lot about her. Like, is she actually a Loki variant? Because there's a point where she and Loki get on the train and they talk about their upbringings. Like, Sylvie always knew that she was adopted. But yeah, is she actually from Asgard? Were her actual biological parents frost giants? Did she have the same kind of upbringing as our Loki did? I'm not actually too sure. Because if her parents were different people, then maybe she's not actually a Loki variant after all. I thought they were like the Lutesses from BioShock Infinite. Like they're the same person, just a different version of them from a different universe. But at this point, I'm not too sure if that's what Sylvie is to Loki. I mean, if there are different versions of people in different universes, then everyone's different. So really, you can't call them the same person because everyone's too different. You know what I mean? It's a really bizarre concept. I'm not gonna dive headfirst into it. But the point is, I'm still gonna stick to the fact that Sylvie is a Loki variant because that's what the show told us. I mean, she's wearing the Loki colors for God's sakes. That's enough for me to go on. Although, one thing I love about the conversation they have on this train is that our Loki here, and I guess all Lokis, but our Loki here is revealed to be bisexual. There's a point where Sylvie's asking, well, you're a prince of Asgard. There must have been another princess, or maybe even another prince. And our Loki responds, a bit of both, but nothing ever really real. So yeah, right there, Loki is bisexual. That's awesome, actually. That's actually huge, because I'm pretty sure this makes Loki the very first, like, main MCU character to not be straight. And that is a very big step for the MCU, and for entertainment in general, really. The showrunner of this show, Kate Herron, she came out and said, yeah, making Loki bisexual is, like, one of the biggest things I wanted to do here, because she is also bisexual. Or I guess I shouldn't say making him bisexual, more like revealing that he is bisexual. That's really what it was. Plus, it totally fits, because we've never seen Loki have a love interest so far. So So yeah, that works for me. And as if his big sexuality reveal wasn't enough, it is then also revealed that Loki is quite the singer. Because again, they're on the train and Loki's like, all right, to the end of the world. And you see him later on doing his little drunken Asgardian bar chant. If you watch this with subtitles, it actually says Loki's singing in Asgardian, which I guess Asgardian is a language. I didn't know that. But he's singing this little like bar chant, this song, and I was like, all right, Tom Hiddleston's voice is not half bad at all. I didn't know Tom Hiddleston could sing. Probably should have seen it coming, cause sure, yeah, he looks like he can sing. His voice is pure enough. And then of course there's a little callback to the first Thor movie where he takes a drink and he's like, another smash. I like that. But then eventually Loki and Sylvie are thrown off the train because they don't have tickets. So they're like, all right, let's just find the train station and get on another train and jack the power so we can charge this thing and go back already. And so while they're on their way there, they have this conversation about Sylvie's enchantment powers. And it gets to the point where she's talking about C20, Sasha Lane's character. And she mentions that in order to get into her head, she had to like go back to one of her memories from hundreds of years ago, I guess. Which actually, now that I think about it, the fact that Sylvie mentions that this is a memory from hundreds of years ago, and that memory looks pretty modern, like it takes place in our time, that tells me that Sylvie here is probably from hundreds of years into the future. If this modern looking memory is from hundreds of years ago to Sylvie, yeah, holy shit, I just thought of that. How far in the future is Sylvie from? I guess we'll figure that out later. But anyway, the main point right now is the fact that there's a memory from C20's past that Sylvie says is from when C20 was a regular Earth citizen. And just like Loki, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what? I was informed that all the soldiers or hunters from the TVA were created by the Timekeepers, you know, to keep the sacred timeline in check. But no, I guess not. This is really interesting. Sylvie says, no, all these TVA hunters were once variants. They were like our Loki here. They committed crimes against the sacred timeline, I guess. So maybe when these variants are reset, maybe reset in this context means that their minds are reset. They're brainwashed, they're given full amnesia, and they're made to be TVA soldiers. Holy shit. That's messed up. Or maybe it's not actually, because they are variants. They have nowhere else to go. They can't go back to their own timeline. They'd mess everything up. So I guess they're just given new purpose. I guess that does make sense now that I think about it, but it is still pretty messed up. So alright, that's interesting. The TVA has lied to us a little bit, which means these timekeepers, if they even exist, they might have some other dark agenda that we just don't know about. I don't know, but now I'm really intrigued by it. I guess we'll see where that goes. But then the episode ends with Loki and Sylvie's escape being cut off. Actually, there is a pretty cool tracking shot. Like Loki and Sylvie are going around, they're fighting people, they're running. The tracking shot goes on for a good long while. It's really impressive. So props to the cinematography and blocking on that. But then the train station explodes, so it looks like Sylvie and Loki are gonna be trapped on this planet forever, doomed to die from this crashing planet. But no, come on, there's no tension there. Are you serious? They'll be fine. Cause I mean, hello, we have 3 episodes to go. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be saved by the TVA or something. Like Mobius is gonna come out of a time door out of nowhere and be like, hey, and then he'll drag them back in with him or something. Or Renslayer will do it. We'll see. So yeah, in the end, this 3rd episode, yeah, it was kind of filler. Not the best episode of the season so far, but it was really informative and I really liked that. It gave me a lot of questions about the TVA and the timeline and Sylvie and what's gonna happen with the multiverse. Are the TVA really the bad guys? Is Sylvie really a villain? I don't know, but it is pretty intriguing. We're over the halfway mark now, so things should start to get really exciting pretty soon. So, the 3rd episode of Loki, titled Lamentus. Have you watched it yet? What do you think about it? And what are your thoughts on the whole TVA, Sylvie, timeline stuff and all the theories I mentioned before? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.